7 in Kabbalah is a sword. For the Hindus it's a tool, a yantra. 7 is a commandment. It's to direct, to command. The primary 7 is abilities. The median 7 is actually giving an order or chopping something with the sword. It's applying the force in that dual world. The median 7 is explained by the 5-2 of that potential of duality, or the 25, which is a separating force. Then the sword cuts. Okay. So the primary 7 is that commanding, the ability to decide, to make a choice. The median 7 becomes a competence, management, organize, to set something in place. We'll put this here and that there, it'll be fine. So the dark 7 is obvious more than the light 7. So the primary 7 is that authority or that competence. The median 7 is applying the force, is acting with the ability. It's managing. And the final 7 is the causality of it, the result. It's having done something. But in a clairvoyant reading, a 7 at the last position becomes future. You will do something, or it will work. You'll have the competence. So you have to analyze in context. So a conscious collaboration, 1-6, is 7. It's a working principle. To unite with God, 6-1, is authority. It's the sword of a king that unites by saying what has to be done, giving orders. With 7 is born the concept of hierarchy. Hierarchy. Oh, okay. Hierarchy. Hein? C'est en anglais, ça? Whether it's a tyranny or a good management is contextual. In a way, 7 is a Shivalingam. The Kundalini that rises. It is also your nervous system. 7 is knowing what is what. With this sword is also born distinction. In the cutting, you can say this is there, and this is there. So when the 7 is a representative of 3 plus 4, of that light expanding in dimension, 7 is frequency. Yota hishando ga jiva. The perception is not conscious yet. To observe consciously is 16. 1, 6, 7. But the frequency that will be perceived is in 7. It is light from the 3. It is in form from the 4. It came out of something. It has separation from the 2. And it is strong from the 5. When the 7 is a 2-5, it's that dual power. When it's a 5-2, it's the ability or the power to separate or give birth. The potential to go into that separation or production. Okay? So that 7, the more we go, the more a number is charged with all the previous possibilities. So the more it changes meaning according to the context and the combination of other numbers or tarot cards before it. But 7 is 1 plus 6, 2 plus 5, 3 plus 4, 4 plus 3, 5 plus 2, or 6 plus 1. It's all that. And it holds a primary, a median, and a final position. As an authority or an ability, as a management, as a competence, a tool, and as an action, an order. A final is giving an order. And that's 7. It's what you do. So the more we go, the less I can give precision. But Krishna would say, Vishnu is the Lord of illusion. 2, 5. Vishnu, primary 2. Perception, secondary 5. Okay, you have the Hishitva explained there in that 7th city. Vishnu is the Lord of illusion. Lord of illusion, he's the one in charge, he commands 7. He takes decision, potentials are moved in function of what he decides to separate or organize. So that 7th city is a good experience of the 5-2 and 2-5 in Krishna's perception. It makes sense there. While in the Buddhists, it's all about the perception you have. But it's not just the perception. It is what you perceive, acting. And it does flow. Yotahi Shandoga Jiva Tai. It's not just the Yotahi Shandoga Jiva. It's not just the various frequencies. It's those frequencies do something. Tai. They all go and exist. All is doing something. So that 5-2 is really acting there. Okay? In 7, you have the Kundalini principle and the 7 principal chakras, let's say. Okay. If Vishnu is the Lord of illusion, as a symbol of how it changes and manifests in the world, then in Netzah, for the Kabbalists, Yahweh Tsebaot is the one creating in all its various forms and shapes, the Tsebaot. The seventh plane becomes the plane of creativity. If the seventh plane is the plane of creativity, of Haniel celebrating what is done, of Netzah victorious sword, vanquishing, successful, thus in charge, and Yahweh Tsebaot is the Vishnu, Lord of the world of illusion, manifesting and operating the world how he wishes. So you have the numbers and you have the relationships to the various systems. Okay. For whoever studied which system, a few of you studied them all and really enjoyed this little talk. Eight. In its primary position, realization. In its median position, setting in place, organizing. It's the seven doing something, the 7-1. It's the in charge, conscious presence using the tool. So in its first position is the archetype of realization. In a median position anywhere else in a longer series, it's that feeling of the infinite hay of trees, all put to accomplish something. So the archetype realization first, then the actual accomplishing or realizing something, the accomplishing of something. Because in second or more position there's the duality. You're accomplishing something. In first position is self-realization. It's just the awakening. And in final position, infinite or forever. Not time. To understand the final 8, you need non-distinction to really grasp it. But it is eternity and infinite in time, but not eternity in the idea of forever. Forever suggests an ending, but you have defeated it. Eternity suggests no ending. Oh, playing with words. And I imagine in Spanish is siempre, siempre, pero no, siempre, siempre, siempre. I don't know how the forever or eternity, eternidad, try to find something that fits, okay. So the accomplishment of something, manifestation. Sein. To accomplish Srijai Varitai. To put something in a good order, in a straight line. The square in the square. Some people have seen it, a square, and you overlap another square, a lozenge, prism. So the square and a square, another one into it. Like two triangles binding, now you have a square and a square at 45 degrees. This idea of 4-4, of combined forms. So a dimension, primary and final four together, a dimension and a form in that dimension, or together this passing into the freedom to do, the freedom from the shape itself. In 4-4 you have the freedom of 4 and the shape of 4 to be freed from form, freed from dimension, infinite. So dimension is conquered when the 4 is imposed on itself. To accept that even that final form has the right of free will itself and the ability to not have it. So you'll have a form free of a form, so the passing can be a forever it's flowing, can be an infinite experience. Whew, I know, abstract, I know. Some of these concepts are fun, but hard to grasp. So when 1-7 is all that potential consciousness of everything is giving an order with ability. Okay, you have your 8 of accomplishing something. When the 2-6 is this giving birth, or that separating components, usually a 2-6 is full separation and conflict. But remember that 2-6, 26, is the total of Yahweh. The word Yahweh in Hebrew. So 2-6 is giving birth to unity or communion. It is also 2 times 13, 1-3, 1-3. But to get to 8, giving birth or allowing an enclosed experience of communion, and 8 is realization. 8 becomes the perfect Dharma. 8 becomes the eightfold Buddhist path. So in 1-7, that consciousness is transmitted with ability, with the soul. 17 is transmitting, Fe, 17th letter. So that power is transmitted forever. It's giving, it's allowing, setting in place. You have an idea of the 8. 2-6 is that Yahweh. So it can be dual conflict, but usually 26 is the original communion. And that's realization. To be conscious of that original communion, a state of full balance of the origin, 26. When it's 3-4, when it's 3-5, it's expanding power. 3 is that expansion, and the 5 is that secondary 5 of perception of what the potentials could be. Oh, so the potentials now, the secondary, the 3-5, those potentials, they are expanding potentials. It is accomplishing something. And in 3-5, there's no suggestion that it will stop. So you have eternity again. Expanding potential. That's forever. It's no limit. 3-5 is a suggestion of no rules, no chain, no limit. So the infinity. 4-4 we saw it, the freedom in that form. Then the potential interaction, 5-3. The potential is the ability to interact with. So the management and accomplishment of 8. The 6-2 becomes that unity with the origin, realization, and the 7-1 is to give power or to command presence. Hey, do that. It's the... So there's a feeling of having your place in this world in 8. You have a place. Take it. With power, take charge. You're here. Self-realization again. Ooh, that's a big thing about the 8. And again, the more we go, the more it's conceptual. Just remember, all this separation of numbers is ideas to inspire. But in the origin, 8 is accomplishment of self-realization or realization. In secondary or median position is a more organized management of form, and in the final position is an infinite of possibilities. In card reading, 8 can be just the final result, and you will end up with management. You know, it's just contextual. But usually in finality it means the infinite. Nine. Nine is mud. From the point of view that vacuity is the complete absence of density, light, even if it's the highest frequency, is denser than no density at all. So the Kabbalist mud as something that you can work with will make a link with the hermit, the tarot card of the hermit, who holds the light, and his staff is a symbol of he can do something with. Okay, a staff is a symbol of fire. Okay. So he has light and fire in hand. Okay, and he's hiding. He's dark. So 9 in its primary position is substance. Even in the highest and lightest fashion, it is substance. And that substance is what flows on your crown when it's anointment. Okay? It's that thing, the resource of divine golden light. It's something to work with. Because now that I can accomplish something with 8, I have a tool with 7. I can combine things. I can apply force. I have a form. I can expand and interact into something, the original container too. And I'm conscious. Now that I have all this, now I can do something. So existence starts with 9. The primary 9 is something. There's not something before. There's not nothing, there's not something. It's all concept. So the primary 9 is something, substance. So we can do something. In its median, it is resource. It's not resource necessarily its primary function. In its primary function, there's substance. In its secondary or median position, it's resource. It's all the resource, all the types of mud and brick and clay and straw, wood, metals. It's resource. It's not knowledge yet. That comes with 10. But in 9, there's something to know about. So the hermit is wise. He's more than intelligent. He's higher than the 10 of intelligence. There's a tangibility to the experience in 9 that does not exist prior. There's no tangibility. There's really something. So the final 9 is feel. The final 9 is contact. There was something to be perceived in 8, but the perception of its density as a thing happens in 9. 9, in primary position, is something. All before is just concepts. I'm going to manage, I'm going to command, I'm going to organize. But what? I can accomplish myself. What accomplishes itself? Thing, the idea thing. Objectivity, something to real observe. Mud, density, starts at 9. And it is a resource to do something with. And you feel it. There's an object to perceive. And in 1-8, there's the concept of affecting. In 2-7, there's the concept of giving that order. In 3-6, there's the idea of expanding with others. It's bigger. Now you have the realization. Now you have the collaborations. Now you have the assembled house in 2-7, for example. The house was dealt with. Or we commanded on the group, 7-2. All this is tangible experience in 9. I would say 9 is experience. Eight is the Dharma, but you experience it in 9. When you are conscious of the Dharma, 1-8. 8 is the Dharma, the doing a thing. But you feel and you live it in 9. It makes sense in 9. Accomplishment. And the Siddhi, Kamarutattva, experiencing desires I'll let you find it on your own if you want to do the city. Kamartaka. Experiencing, consuming, living in this world of desire. Something that you can feel. That mud is tangible. Feeling is much more tangible than thoughts, which is very subtle. Feeling is there. So 9, the mud, is when consciousness becomes substance. So 9 is chi. In Qigong, for example, when we say that chi is tangible consciousness. Well, consciousness usually is just knowing something. You're aware. But it becomes tangible and substantial in 9. And you have your chi. 9th plane of the tree of life, Yesod, vital plane. That's the mud. You push the mud. Okay, the Chinese call it the sandbag. Okay. Very quickly. 1-8. Conscious of what is happening. There's a thing. 9. 2-7. A structured order. I told you that. Okay, it's not the Kundalini, it's what results. It's a Shakti emanating from it. 3-6. This expanding bond, a collaboration. The water and the earth melding together. Okay, so you make mud from other components. So these components combined in the 3-6, this interacting, the mixing art, transforming this water, earth into mud. That's the 3-6 and the 6-3, depending on the perception of it. The 4-5 is a form of power. The 5-4 is that powerful form. Ah, that's a form. It's not just the idea of a form. Pause for Shamantrana to translate. I'm sorry, Spanish people, my translator live just falls asleep. Transcends. So he's, I don't know, my method did not work to have a gauge to wait for you guys. And then the 6-3, the uniting interaction. It's subtle, but it gives you reference to the resource. You can unite and think there's something to interact with. And the 7-2, to ordain the house, to command that generation. 2 is generation. To command that product or that producing. And 8-1 is to accomplish consciousness, to self-realize in presence. Bam! Ah, that presence is felt. 9.